Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the NFL Elite Banner with me, Rich Smoke, with a fresh haircut for once. And
Yeah.
the man who's always hiding his messy hair underneath of a hat,
Right.
Mr. Freight Train. How's it
I
going,
have
man?
to. Well, it's not just a messy hat. It's like the giant widow's peak that comes with it. You know what I mean?
Do we
Like
call that balding in Cleveland? Is that what we call
balding.
it?
Yeah, slightly balding. Yeah. But yeah,
Slightly
no, dude, I
balding.
was gonna bring up, dude, it looked like you got your ears raised. Is it ears
Yeah,
raised or
I'm
ears
free, man.
lowered?
I'm free.
I
I'm
think it's
good.
ears raised. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
will say that I was. It was funny because I was trying to get ready for the show, and it's probably around like 6:50. Listen, I do everything last minute, so for anybody who watches the show does not know, I am a very last minute person. So I'm sitting there. I'm eating this massive 18-inch cheesesteak that I thought was necessary for dinner, and it was phenomenal, by the way. And
Yeah.
as I'm doing that, I'm drinking a cup of coffee because I'm like half asleep after working all day. So I'm having coffee with a cheesesteak, which is probably sacrilege.
That's a
And on
nice.
top of that, having my hair cut at the same exact time. So very
What a
interesting way
combo.
of consuming a meal. And my fiance, thank you. Shout out, honey, if you're watching, for cutting the hair last minute. Much appreciated. Nice
Right.
having a barber on standby.
Dude, there's nothing like going to the barber while you're eating a giant cheesesteak, which I have to ask, dude.
Yeah, and a cup of
So,
coffee at like 6:30.
right, what a concoction. But like, is it so in Philly, is it like a Philadelphian thing to put cheese whiz
I
on a cheesesteak?
knew. I knew. Once you said cheesesteak, I knew you were going there. First of all, they say wit or without in some restaurants down in South Philly. I will say that nobody in my family, nobody in my friend circle, because we're not psychopaths, we do not.
Yeah,
However, the popular tourist thing is cheese whiz, and some people would say yes, some people say no. It's a very 50-50 topic.
yeah.
That being said, if you do, you're a psychopath. I think cheese whiz is gross. I don't even like it with the crackers when you're like a kid when you put like that. Oh
Right.
god, it's terrible, dude.
It's like
It's
chalky
like
cheese.
it's like plastic cheese is what I call it. I call
Right.
it. It's like you take a piece of plastic, you melt it, and that is the texture of what you're getting from the cheese.
Yeah, that's
Um,
see they melted down Legos. Like we used to chew on our Legos as kids.
uh,
They melted it down and called it cheese
Morgan
whiz.
Ferdinand said we got somebody from the Roxbury, my hometown. She's actually like my cousin, basically. We do not. Thank you for that, Morgan. We definitely do not.
I mean, I just had
Um,
to ask because I've heard it both ways. You know what I mean? Like,
it
so you're just like peppers and onions guy.
it
With like,
depends. If you go to like Pat's and Geno's, they will try to get you with the wit or without. That's what they call it. It's WIT and
wit.
without, the same thing. It's
Is
wit
that
or
Philly
wit out.
lingo?
No,
Is that
hell
like
no.
Yinzers in Pittsburgh? You guys are
Fuck
wits
no.
in
Hell no.
Philadelphia
We're
or
Johns
wit?
in Philadelphia. Okay, we use the word John in Philadelphia. Hey,
John.
Chris
Okay,
Elliott, welcome to the
I
show.
got
Thank
you.
you for popping on, Morgan, as well. Feel free
Yeah.
to like, comment, subscribe, and
I
share.
promise
Much
this isn't a
appreciated.
cheesesteak episode. We are going to talk
No,
about
no, we are
football.
going to get the football here in just a second, but Philadelphia is not Philadelphia without a cheesesteak. But no, I actually do a 18-inch garlic bread where the bread is actually garlic bread, basically, cheesesteak,
Yeah.
sauce, fried onions, and mushrooms. I always get extra onions. I love me some onions. I am
Hmm.
a sucker for them. Just maybe not something you want to eat on a
What
first
sauce are you
date.
talking? Like pizza sauce? Like marinara
It's like a
sauce?
red sauce. It's like a red sauce. Yeah.
Okay,
No,
I've never heard of that.
you can
That's
do it
different.
dry. I mean, everybody has their own thing. Some people like their cheesesteak hoagie is what they call it, where they do like mayo and it's like a cheesesteak, but just like mayo on it instead. Not my thing, not my speed.
Yeah.
My mom says yes. My mom. Oh wait, my mom here. No, it's a tourist attraction. Get the good sandwiches. LOL. My mom had a
Yeah.
few drinks before she's watching the show, so thanks for coming on, Mom. We appreciate you. And then Morgan came back. Just here to support you, Rich. Love and miss you. Love you and miss you too. Thank you for supporting the show. Feel free to share it, like, comment, subscribe, do whatever you got to
Tell all
do.
your
Much
friends.
love. Yeah,
Tell
tell
all your
everybody. I'm
friends.
cool. Oh my God, it's not spaghetti sauce, not pizza sauce. It's just sauce.
It's just sauce. It's just a
Yeah,
red
Mom, you really
sauce.
simplified that for everybody watching. And Bubba said, "Hey guys, hey Bubba, great show last night, by the way. Always nice to have you around, man." But so all right, so I swear to God, we are a football show. We are not here to eat food. We're not that fat.
Now
Wait,
I'm hungry.
make sure you put that in all caps. The word "not that." Yeah, we're fat, but maybe not that big. So our very first topic, real fast, before we get into the obvious games we want to talk about here a little, which what we're all here for. The
Mhm.
first thing to talk about here, and this has been all breaking news, the nonstop, like what last 72 hours, even a little bit
Yeah.
before that. The
Mhm.
NFL head coach carousel right now in the National Football League has been absolutely ridiculous. I made a slide here, which you'll see in just a second. This slide is dead. It's pretty much
Yeah.
dead. It
Mhm.
went from these two, all
Well, the
five
whole
of these
top
teams.
half is done. The whole top
Yeah,
half of that
all
drafted.
five of these teams, as of yesterday morning, did not have a head coach. As of yesterday afternoon, did not have a head coach. And then all of a sudden,
Mhm.
Tennessee made their announcement. And then, take it from there, man. Who
Mhm.
do we have filling those top three spots there?
So the newest news is Atlanta. They
Yep.
grabbed Raheem Morris after they fooled everybody into thinking that they were going to take Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
They threw us a curveball and hired Raheem Morris.
Yep.
Um, I think it's a questionable hire, but so is
Yep.
over half these hires so far. Um,
Yep.
then you have the Titans. They grabbed Brian Callahan from the offensive coordinator from the Bengals, which is also questionable because he wasn't even the play caller at Cincinnati.
Yeah.
So that's quite interesting. I know his dad is an offensive line coach for Cleveland, so I don't know. Maybe
Yep.
they pull him there and have a family affair. We'll find out. And then the Panthers grabbed Dave Canales,
Yep.
the offensive coordinator from Tampa Bay. Um, I guess you could say he helped Baker have a resurrection of his career, possibly. I mean, who
Whatever.
knows?
I guess.
I still think it's questionable. And then the Chargers got Jim Harbaugh from the University of Michigan.
Well, where that white question mark was, that was the Chargers logo. But that actually, we were on here last night. I swear to God, updating this, and it just things changed pretty rapid.
Oh
Uh,
yeah,
but
mhm.
Harbaugh's probably the biggest name being signed as of right now. I mean, he had
That
that what
seems to be the safer
October,
bet.
but October he had what? He had the largest contract offer in college football
Yeah,
history, with a team that he just won the national championship with. And
right.
I guess he's bought
hmm
into the Justin Herbert hype, is what I'm guessing that is.
Right, and who knows? I mean, he went from being royalty in Michigan essentially to moving back into the NFL, a team that he
Yeah.
played for. And I don't know
Yep.
how this sits for Michigan.
Well,
I know we're not an NCAA podcast, but they are a chance to lose a lot of top recruits
well,
because of this move.
Well, you know what it is too. At the end of the day, I think for him, he couldn't pass. I mean, he does have one of the greatest records over the first 50 games of an NFL career to start in NFL
Yeah.
history. So I
hmm
think the Chargers were like, okay, you know what? We definitely want this guy. Plus, for those of you who never watched Jim Harbaugh play football, I don't blame you. I don't think many people did, but he
Yeah.
did play for the San Diego Chargers back in the '90s. So
I
he's definitely been around that team before. So it's like a welcome back kind of thing. But
mean,
yeah,
now
so
that was San Diego back then,
well, that's
obviously.
why I said
But
San Diego. Yeah, it's LA now.
right, yeah.
Um,
So
but yeah, so obviously minus Raheem Morris, who did sign that contract today to go to Atlanta. We still have, I mean, 6 really big people that people thought were going to have head coaching
yeah.
jobs coming into
hmm
the offseason. So obviously you got Pete Carroll, Super Bowl coach, obviously made 2 appearances, won 1. Bill Belichick, who's made 8 appearances, won 6. Ron Rivera had one back in, I think that was 2015 with Carolina when they were on that crazy season. Vrabel here is the only coach on that top of the list where he does not have a Super Bowl appearance.
Yeah.
And then obviously Ben Johnson, which still not out of the question. Those teams like Seattle and Washington could go after a guy like Ben Johnson, somebody who got established this year. I wouldn't be surprised. And then another guy I think will actually probably fit in Washington better, in my opinion. Mike McDonald, great defensive coordinator. They're trying to rebuild that defense in Washington.
hmm
I mean, what do you think here? I mean, which of these guys fit those last 2 spots really?
I mean, dude, Belichick has to get a job though, right?
Not
And
with
same
any of the
with
2 teams.
Vrabel. You know what I
I
mean?
don't.
Like,
I don't see
why are
Belichick going
you?
to either team left though.
It's just questionable that these teams that have consistently lost for years are rolling the dice continuously with coaching hires that they have either no previous experience running a football team, or they have a losing record when they were previously an NFL head coach. It just
Yeah.
boggles my mind. You're not going to have somebody like Bill Belichick that has a track record of winning wherever
Well,
he goes.
Well, what I find funny too is Ron Rivera has not had one head coaching job offer. He has been interviewed as defensive coordinator in multiple locations, Philadelphia as well. But it looks like the Eagles are actually going to be going with Vic Fangio for the defensive coordinator role, which is awesome. I
That's
love
a
that
good
move.
hire. I think that's a
Miami,
very good hire.
I thought Miami hit the panic button and rushed him out of town way sooner than they should have. I thought he fit Miami
Yeah.
really well.
Well,
I
they
mean,
got
and with
hit
all
with
the
big
injuries, I mean,
yeah,
yeah,
big injuries.
every one of their big players was pretty much out for substantial time. And then on top of that, Eagles are also going after Kellen Moore, offensive coordinator from the Chargers. So
That's huge.
obviously
That's somebody I
former
want the
Cowboys guy.
Steelers to look at.
Well,
That's
sorry to
big.
tell you, bud, but that's not going to happen. Philadelphia is
Hey,
taking the best
anything can happen.
coordinators. Yeah, you
Anything
think
can
so? Then again, Bill Belichick got passed on for Raheem
Mhm.
Morris. So I guess you're right. Anything could happen. But yeah, feel free to comment along, guys. Let us know what you were surprised about. Bubba did chime in and said the Emperor has to go somewhere.
Has to somewhere.
But you know what? I saw a post, and this guy may actually be making an appearance later on in the show. He did make a comment about he thinks that after the announcement of Atlanta going with Raheem Morris, he thinks Bill Belichick will not be a head coach after this season. So at least for a year. So as a big Patriots fan himself, he did make it very well known that he does not believe
that might
Belichick
be the smart thing to do, honestly.
Yeah, wait until next year, see what jobs open up, and be one of the first ones to have dibs. But I mean, look at the coaching tree on those coordinators, man. I mean, Raheem Morris did have the best tree overall. I think there's a Super Bowl for all three of those coaches. I mean, he's been with a Super Bowl winning coach 3 times. But yeah, I mean, so with all that being said, coaching is chaotic right now, and it is not over. There's plenty of coordinators being shuffled, plenty of head coach spots that could still be fired too, really. I mean, who knows? I mean, we've seen coaches get fired in middle of the offseason before. It wouldn't blow my mind. But yeah, so moving on from that. So again, I've got the ticker at the bottom there for you guys, so if you guys want to check that out. But yeah, so the first game, who we actually have somebody here as a guest host. You may have seen him before going live with me over on the Triple B Experience with Bubba Brewer, Shane, and all them guys. We have Kal-El, and he is a big Bills fan, obviously a big wrestling fan, has his own podcast. Kal-El, man, what were your thoughts during this game with Kansas City? I mean, what was your thought in this game?
Well, going into it, I thought it was going to be like, again, one of those great like Bills Chiefs games you could usually is in the playoffs. And I just didn't know, like, there was injuries on both sides. I know, but obviously, like a bunch of Bills players got hurt in that game. And it's usually pretty much every game that Bills players get hurt. So I mean, there's nothing really you can do about it, especially like I think in the maybe second quarter, third quarter is really it started to pick up. But I think they did play like a good first half. They kept it really close, and then I mean they kept it close in the whole game. And the Bills would score a touchdown, and then the Chiefs would score a touchdown, and then the Bills would score another touchdown. And they would just go back and forth, and then the Bills got stopped, and then the Chiefs would get stopped. And it was
I will say though, there was definitely some missed calls in this game. I felt like Kansas City got a lot of help in certain areas. I'm not saying the whole game. I mean, by all means, you still got to win it on your own, right? You can't blame the refs for it all. But I think I saw 3 or 4 missed like face masks in like the fourth quarter alone. There was that weird pick play where they never showed the replay of what the flag was thrown for. And I'm like, hey, I kind of want to see what that pick looked like. You guys are claiming it wasn't one. Well, how about you show us the replay, pal? And they kind of clipped it off pretty quick. Let's see. Ryan Nelka chimed in. Makes you wonder if it's Bill Belichick's age. Probably. I wouldn't be surprised if that's a big part of it. Me and Freight Train talk behind the scenes all the time, and that was one of my theories.
I mean, he's in his 70s. So, I mean.
Now, Kal-El, I'm obviously there's probably more than one moment, but if you had to like remember a specific time in this game where you were like, you know what, it's over. When did you have that mindset? Did you not have it until the end?
I think I know we talked about this a little bit earlier when Stephon Diggs dropped that pass. I mean, that would have been huge. It definitely would have changed the kind of set of it. So if he would have caught that ball, I think it would have. They probably would have been able to make a field goal. It was that. I mean, at that point, if he would have caught it, he would have got up a little, probably like 3 or 4 more yards at least. So.
Now, let me ask you this. I know I kind of asked you before, but just for the show's sake, like I told you before, a lot of people were saying that was Josh Allen's fault. Who do you blame on that play? I think it's obvious, but who do you blame on that play?
I mean, I do think that he overthrew it a little bit, but it's still, I think, watching the replay, it bounced off of Diggs' hands.
It did. Hit him right in the hands.
It was right. Yeah. His hands were like this. The ball came right in the gap, but he just never. Like he never closed his hands up. I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And 3 catches for 21 yards from a guy who's supposed to be, and he is a premier wide receiver. Don't get me wrong. I mean, obviously everybody has their bad games. I just think.
Yeah, but he's an aging premier wide receiver.
Well, he chose the worst moment to have that, right? Like regular season, you lose a regular season game, we can bounce back next week. Playoffs is only one and done, So,
right.
But yeah, I mean that was tough. I mean. But when you watch the Bills, obviously you had a great game against Pittsburgh. You cover your ears up there, Freight Train. I don't want to hurt your feelings any more than they were already hurt.
I've already moved on.
I've already moved on.
Yeah.
I'm ready for whoever we hire at coordinator. But I mean, who is your playoff MVP this season for Buffalo? I mean, is it still Josh Allen, or did anybody else really impress you in Buffalo?
Who else could it possibly be?
I have somebody. I have somebody. No, hold on. Let him answer. I'm curious.
Well, I do have two. So
okay, who do you got?
Obviously, with Gabe Davis not playing, it was Stephon Diggs or Khalil Shakir. Yep. And I know I said I think I said it a few weeks ago that Khalil Shakir is gonna have to step up because Gabe Davis didn't play last week or this week. And he did have a lot of great catches. And he saved a lot of the drives. Yeah. So him, and then I think Dalton Kincaid too.
Yeah, Dalton Kincaid was phenomenal.
He had a lot of yards.
Yeah, so, he was phenomenal.
Which he only had 40 in the playoff game. I mean, I forgot that they even had tight ends in this game.
It was weird. 158 yards passing, I think it was, or maybe a little bit over that for Josh Allen in this game.
One of the most alarming things about this game was, at least for me, and I'm not a Buffalo Bills fan, I'm a football fan, but you have a punter that strains his hamstring against the Steelers severely, right? And we all know that in the playoffs, it is about field position. When you can pin a team deep, you do it, right?
Yep.
It's playing that field position game.
Yep.
He couldn't punt the yard further than like 25 yards. Why wouldn't you sign somebody? I mean,
they did. They signed another punter, and they still played.
And just didn't play him. They just didn't play him. There was a guy they did put.
There was twice where they gave Kansas City the ball at like the 50-yard line. You can't do that against a team like Kansas City,
especially when you're up. Especially when at the time you're up, I mean, that's the hardest part. But so Bubba obviously has a question for you here, Kel. I mean, what are your thoughts? Do you think Stephon's back next year, or is Buffalo done with this and they're moving on and trying to get younger? What do you think?
I mean, it's hard to tell. I mean, he can have some big games, but I don't know, ever since I think they started winning games that week after the Philly game, I think he just hasn't been great. So I don't know. It's hard to tell. I think they wait a few more months to see.
It still wasn't a horse collar tackle, just so you know. Anyway, I don't know. Stop saying that, Freight Train. All jokes aside. No, but you know what? It was a great season. I mean, and my last question to you here on this topic is, and obviously there's going to be a big conversation moving forward once we start getting closer to the award ceremony coming up. Do you think that what just transpired and what Lamar is doing hurts Josh Allen's opportunity of winning the MVP award? Now, we know it's supposed to be a regular season award. We're aware of that. But there's always a reason why they don't announce it until later. The playoffs does matter. You can't help but watch football, right? When you're watching the game and you see Josh have a bad game, Lamar's carrying his team to major wins, especially when it was a dominating performance in his first game in the playoffs this year. Do you think that this took Josh Allen out of the running, or do you think that there's still a possibility that he wins this MVP award this season? Or do you care, for that matter?
I mean, I don't think that really matters.
Thanks for tuning in, Sue. Appreciate you.
You just said it's like a regular season award, but I mean, they always that's the reason they always don't do it until really close to the Super Bowl. Yeah. So I mean, also I don't really think it matters. People say that he doesn't have any stats to show. But I mean, they said
no, he does have stats to show. I mean, 40 some yards, 40 some touchdowns isn't anything to scoff at.
No. 15 rushing touchdowns, by the way, which was absolutely ridiculous.
From a quarterback position, right?
For a white guy that's 6'6", 265, 270 pounds, the fact that he runs like Derrick Henry and has an arm like Dan Marino sometimes with that gunslinger mentality, but he has precision as well. I mean, obviously he made some bad reads. That happens. I mean, that's going to be part of the gunslinger mentality. People forget that. Brett Favre, those types of guys, they always do a lot of picks. You can't avoid it. When you're a gunslinger and you leave the ball out there, it's 50-50 ball a lot of the time.
Yeah,
you're going to throw picks. You're going to throw them. I mean, the only thing I think Josh has to really develop on moving forward, my fiance loves Josh Allen, by the way. She is a Jets fan because of her dad. Obviously, I'm an Eagles fan. Believe it or not, she just ordered a Josh Allen Buffalo Bills jersey, which really kind of pisses me off, by the way. I don't know how I feel about it. She has a major crush. She wants to marry Josh Allen, I think. So I'm in
and
trouble.
Kyle likes him because he's friends with Peppa Pig.
Oh, you had to bring it. First of all, I did not make one age joke, ladies and gentlemen. That's all freight train.
I had to poke fun at him. Yeah. But no,
But yeah.
like my take, like one last final take on this game. What I think ultimately lost this game for Buffalo is on that last drive. It seemed like they went away from their whole game plan of how they got that far in the game to begin with. It was run. Josh Allen makes the throws to basically give them fresh downs, right?
Yeah.
The object was to run the clock at the end so Kansas City wouldn't get that chance to get the ball back. You know what I mean? And then what was it on second down or was it third down?
Yeah.
He throws it like 40 yards downfield instead of a wide open Diggs right there at the first down. Like
They also underutilize James Cook a lot, I think, in those short yardage situations. They try so hard to get cute. It's like, just give him the damn ball and let him run straight, man. Go back to the old school way.
Just stick to what's working. Like there was no need to change it. That's I mean.
Yeah. Now
that's what ultimately I think lost them the football game. I mean, I don't think it really had really as much to do with the
I forgot to pull this up. I forgot to pull my little banner up for that. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. I forgot to pull it up. No, but so Kal-El, I mean, obviously I appreciate you coming on. You are the very first guest of the NFL Elite Banner. So first of all, I appreciate you for coming on. It is something that we are hoping to be having a nice little rotation, get some different guys in. And we will be having a Super Bowl special for anybody who's watching and for you as well, Kal-El. Next week, it will be an hour and a half program. We're going to bring on different guys, rotate them in. So if you have any interest in popping on at some point, you want to talk a little bit Super Bowl or any predictions, feel free. We will bring you on, no problem at all. You're always going to be a friend of the show, and we appreciate you. For anybody who does not know, let me get over this little thingy here. I feel like Bubba now. I'm like, let me go find my thing. On this banner here, Buckle to Buckle with Kal-El down there that you see underneath of his name as well. He is a big wrestling fan. Obviously, Royal Rumble's coming up this Saturday, right? So I'm sure you probably have some stuff coming up on, what is it, TikTok? Is that where you have all your stuff at right now?
Yeah, I'm going to do my TikTok, and then I got to film my show for my channel tomorrow.
Awesome. Now, is your channel on Facebook? Is that right? Or is it YouTube?
I just have my personal Facebook, but I can go, I can upload my stuff to there. So
yeah, absolutely. So yeah, guys, keep an eye out if you're a big wrestling fan. Kal-El is obviously huge onto that. I mean, I think he pretty much lives for it. Very, very knowledgeable, everything he talks about. So we definitely appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, bro.
But yeah, man, any final thoughts before we kick you out of the show here?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you guys for having me come on.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was fun. And I think what before you said right there, James, they got to run with James Cook. I don't like James Cook.
I know
he
you
can't
don't.
even get 1 yard.
I know you don't.
Yeah. So.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, Devin Singletary's out of the playoffs too in Houston. So there's no Buffalo current or former running backs available in the playoffs. But man, it was a pleasure having you on. You're always a pleasure to have. Always very, very professional. No cursing. No references I have to worry about here in probably about a half hour or so with some other guys that might be making an appearance. But yeah, man, thank you for coming on. We will definitely have you back if you're interested when we go live here. 2 weeks, January 8th will be the Super Bowl special show. Same time, Thursday, 8 o'clock. And yeah, man, thanks a lot. Have a great evening, and I'll be checking your show out.
All right, thank you guys.
All right, man.
Later,
No problem.
buddy.
Take care, Kal-El. Later.
See you guys later.
All right, man. Hey, I gotta say, he's a cool kid. 13 years old. He's not afraid to get in there with the big guys. If you guys ever watched the Triple B Experience, I mean, he takes a lot of heat for being a 13-year-old, and the kid definitely takes it with a smile, man. I gotta give him a lot of credit.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. So obviously, we spent a lot of time on that Buffalo game there. But
that's enough about that.
Yeah, that's enough Buffalo. It's enough Buffalo. My fiance's probably at home like, oh no, please, more Josh. I did not plan on saying that. I swear to God. Anyway, moving on. We do have a big Ravens fan here in the comments section. I didn't mean to ignore anybody. Sue, thank you for popping on. One of my favorite bartenders of all time. So if you're ever looking for a nice drink and probably a little bit of an overpour, heavy elbow, that would be Sue.
That's my kind of bartender.
Yeah. You get double what you pay for. Thanks, Sue,
Does
for
she
popping
do like
on.
the cool tricks where she like brings it all the way up?
Thank God, no. Thank God, no. Ryan, hey man. Well, listen, he's been saying a lot about the Ravens here. Makes you wonder if Bill Belichick's done. He came out and said the Ravens can play elite, make Patrick uncomfortable. Absolutely,
that's the key.
It's your time. Baltimore is behind you. Well, I mean, Baltimore didn't seem behind them with a contract last year, but whatever. And obviously, he thinks they should be more physical to get the victory this weekend. Obviously, Mahomes is special, and they have to stress and make him uncomfortable. Trent is always going to be huge, especially against a team like KC. Take away the run game, force them to force the ball out and pass to those under-talented receivers over there. But so Baltimore and Houston, this game, I mean, it didn't surprise anybody. I thought that Green Bay had a better chance against San Fran than Houston had against Baltimore. But halftime, 10-10 at half. Obviously, Houston misses that field goal right before going in. Fairbairn, kind of hooks it a little bit. Probably one of the worst field goal attempts I've seen in a long time, by the way.
Who would have thought field goals would have been the issue this week on every
between Buffalo. I mean, really, can we blame? I mean, let's hold on. Let's not say the field goals were the issue in Houston. Okay, when you lose 34-10 and you only missed one field goal, I don't know if I could say it's
all the momentum got taken away. All the wind got taken out of their sails.
Yeah, it just gave Baltimore 24 points propelled in the next half. Sue says Mahomes is amazing. She's a Saints fan, so take everything she says with a bitter pill. I'm just kidding, Sue. I love you. But yeah, so Baltimore, Houston, obviously Lamar, I think at this point, and I do agree with what Ryan said earlier. I think CMC definitely belongs in the conversation for MVP. I don't think he'll get it because at this point,
it's a quarterback award.
At this point, the award should be called the MVQB, which is the most valuable quarterback, and it's unfortunate because I've said there's been years where quarterbacks have won, they had no right to win it. I mean, there's just been years where there was running backs and receivers out there that deserved it more. But yeah, man, Baltimore, Houston, blowout. Again, 10-10. Fairbairn misses a field goal in the half. Obviously, it takes away some momentum, but I don't think Baltimore was ever in doubt in this game. I mean,
eventually Stroud had to look like a rookie. Eventually, right? I mean, this historic rate that he was at. I mean, he had to come back down to earth. I mean, and
they better not come at. Go Chiefs! I hate them dirty rat hairs. Oh man, Chris Elliott's a big Steelers fan. For anybody in the comments who doesn't know, so
I'm with you, Chris. Yeah.
But yeah, what were your thoughts on that, man? I mean, was CJ Stroud kind of disappointed? I thought he played pretty well, actually.
I mean, he didn't play bad. You know what I mean? But it's just like the talent level there just wasn't the same, especially on the defensive side of the ball for Houston. I mean, they're leaps and bounds. Not as good. You know what I mean? So. The good thing is for Houston, they got 2 first-round draft picks coming in, which they have to use. You would think either offensive line or defensively. You know what I mean? So because you got to protect your asset, and you have one.
Well, and they have a coach who's right there in the top 3 for Coach of the Year. I mean, by far. I don't think he's going to win it, but he belongs in the conversation 100%, in my opinion. I think everybody's so quick to jump on Dan Campbell, they forget about what DeMeco Ryans has done in Houston.
Right.
I mean, talk about a team that nobody. First of all, Detroit was supposed to be great last year. Everybody was having Detroit as a dark horse. They were called a dark horse by so many people. They were really favorites. Let's be honest. When 75% of the media calls you a dark horse, you're not dark anymore. Like everybody's bringing you to life.
Right.
You are literally a favorite.
Yeah.
So really, I mean, for me, I would say DeMeco Ryans has been more impressive. This guy had no coaching experience whatsoever. I mean, he comes in. He was a great linebacker for Houston for a long time. He came to Philadelphia. He was a captain here right away. He played 3 years phenomenally here. And then again, he's a coach of a team that was not supposed to be able to accomplish a thing.
Not even in contention. Yeah.
They weren't even supposed to finish 3rd in the division. I mean, Tennessee was supposed to be good, and Indy was supposed to be good, and this team and Jacksonville was supposed to be really good. Nobody thought Houston was going to make it further than every other team in the AFC South. I mean, come on.
No, I'd have called you crazy. I'd have called you crazy.
That is an upset. That is an upset. If somebody took Houston to make the divisional round of the playoffs, I want to see what the payout was.
Do you think DeMeco Ryans is leaps and bounds the number 1 guy for Coach of the Year?
I think he belongs in the conversation. Again, if we're talking regular season, obviously Campbell had a better record, but he had a better team around him, I thought, in my opinion. I thought he had a team that was built so well last year that he
had expectations.
But you underperformed last year. I mean, that's it. Like, that's my thing. You underperformed, and then you come out this year and you did what we thought you should have done in the first place.
Right. You are who we thought you were.
DeMeco Ryans came in, and they weren't supposed to be anything. They had no shot. Nobody talked about them. The media hasn't talked about Houston since they became a new team in 2002. I mean, they were never talked about. So I got to say, I love this game. I was really hoping that Houston was going to have a better chance on the stretch. But for me, this is huge for CJ Stroud, what he's going to be, what he's going to do to continue to develop. If this is rookie year, imagine what he could be if he avoids that sophomore slump. This team could be a legit contender here in the next 2 to 3, even sooner, maybe even next year. But
Well, you
I
got to
think there are a
think.
few pieces.
You got to think they made this run, and Tank Dell
Yeah, was
went on
even
the
playing.
IR, who was
Yeah,
like his
yeah.
top target. And then all of
They
a sudden,
lost him
Nico
week 18.
Collins.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, Nico Collins becomes one of the better wide receivers in the league
I,
that
I,
nobody
I
knew
think
about.
if they pick up a great run, listen, I don't hate Devin Singletary, but I don't think he's good enough to be a one. If Houston can go out there and provide a good run game for CJ and give them a legit weapon there and have a multifaceted offense, this team's gonna be a little scary next year. The O line's getting better. The passing game's great. Even Dalton Schultz was slept on. He actually was huge for my fantasy team this year. And yeah,
But you also you have to put in
yeah,
consideration too how much of that is Bobby Slowick too,
yeah,
as
yeah,
the play caller who is
yeah.
up for a head coaching gig. You know what I
It
mean?
looks like he's not
We
going
all
to get one
saw
at this
you
point.
guys
Looks like
are
he
the
might not
prime
get one.
example. You lose your two good
Yep,
coordinators and it all falls apart. You know
yep,
what I mean? So
absolutely.
that the
Well,
jury's still out.
and it's funny. Speaking of C.J. Stroud, and we're giving him a lot of love. Now, this guy's not a rookie, but he did sit on the bench for 3 years. Nobody believed in him either. They went and rolled up Dallas in Dallas easily, and he played out of his mind. And I got to say, he played a phenomenal game here against
Yep.
San Francisco. I mean,
One
again,
mistake.
ball was on the money. I mean, you know what, though? This is why I said the NFL is rigged. I watched him avoid making throws like that all year. And then in the biggest moment, he makes his only mistake of the entire postseason. And it just did not look natural to me, in my opinion. But either way, nonetheless, without getting into the whole rig nonsense, what a phenomenal game by Jordan. Phenomenal
Yeah.
game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the ball was where it had to be. Aside from that one play, like you said, the reads were spot on. I was really pulling for Green Bay in this game. They were a Cinderella story. Honestly, him and C.J. Stroud both phenomenal seasons. Phenomenal.
Right. Yeah. I mean, everybody was kind of ready to write him off. Like,
They did.
They're already they're already trying to compare him to what Green Bay had previously, and Jordan Love's just coming in trying to make his own name. I don't think he listens to that outside noise of Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre. I think Jordan Love is about Jordan Love, and like you said, man, like those are two really good games. Sorry, my kids are bugging me. Hold on.
But so while he's beating his children, I'm just kidding. He's not doing anything. No, 100%. I thought Green Bay had a really good shot at this game. San Fran obviously played a great game. McCaffrey made a big play at the end when it mattered, even though they kind of held him quiet for most of that game. And when I say quiet, I mean honestly, McCaffrey at 80 yards rushing is quiet. But yeah, man, it was a crazy game. Game. I really was hoping Green Bay would cover it, but
I think the biggest thing that helped Jordan Love too, as I'm back, I've wrangled up my children, but I think the thing that helped Jordan Love too is Aaron Jones came back to form these past couple weeks. What was it? 4 straight games with 100+ yards. I
mean, he had 3 touchdowns against Dallas. I mean, a phenomenal showing. He had 2, I believe, in Week 18 as well to help him get to the playoffs. He was a huge part. I think he had 6 or 7 touchdowns over the course of 3-4 weeks. It was like some crazy number.
Right.
But yeah, man, they're a team to watch out for moving forward. 100%.
Right. Yeah, but man, San Francisco's got some weapons.
I'm not worried. I don't know. There's a couple weird calls in this game too that I can't swallow. I can't swallow them, man. There's some weird ones. But yeah, moving on here. Detroit, Tampa, last game of the divisional round. Obviously, this is a game that I really wanted. I can't stand Baker Mayfield. I really can't. Detroit obviously is the big Cinderella story right now. Haven't made the playoffs since 1991, I believe it was. Now all of a sudden they won the division for the first time in 33 years. And not only that, they won a divisional round as well, and they are heading to the NFC Championship game, which actually now leaves the Commanders and the Dallas Cowboys as the longest teams to be waiting to get back to the championship. Washington being the longest, Dallas being 1995 is their last appearance in the NFC Championship game. So Detroit breaks a hell of a streak, obviously. What was your thought on this one? I mean, I wasn't thrilled with Baker Mayfield in this game either. Again, he missed a lot of throws, just like I said he did against Philadelphia, but he played against a better team.
Right. I mean, I'll say this about Baker. Like, you can't knock the guy's heart and want to win. You can see it, though. You know what I mean?
If I can.
Like, he's a competitor. Everybody likes competitors, and he is 100% a competitor. He's just – the talent isn't quite there. You know what I mean? And
it won't be no better next year once they lose Mike Evans.
Well, no, they're about to lose some stuff. I mean, I don't even I'm surprised that they're not going to try to move on from him either. I mean, I think Baker makes a good bridge quarterback. I don't think he's like your long-term starter, for your franchise for years.
Yeah.
But Detroit, I mean, they're on the up and up, and I gotta peg them as my favorite. You know what I mean? Like in the playoffs. I mean, I like their coach. They finally turned the corner on offense. They got weapons there. Their defense is like a bend but don't break type of defense. You know what I mean? I mean, he's getting quality play out of somebody like Anzalone at the middle linebacker who is all over the field. You know what I mean? And it's just they made smart draft decisions, and you can see it. The guys they draft are on the field making plays. This isn't your early 90s Detroit Lions anymore. So
yeah, we're actually getting a bunch of comments here in the other Facebook, which is my personal one, which trying to avoid. So, hey guys, anybody who has not, please do switch over to the NFL Elite Banner page. Follow us there. Make your comments. I can pull them up on screen. If you go to my personal, if you're watching from my personal Facebook, I can read them, which I forgot to open, but I cannot put them up on screen here. But yeah, we had a bunch of comments. Obviously, John Collier, a big Steelers fan, made an appearance and said that Ryan should win, if not him, if not Dan Campbell. But yeah, I mean, Matt Giacopoulos is the same. DeMeco Ryan's Coach of the Year announced.
I mean, you could put Kevin Stefanski in there too at Cleveland. I mean, you want to talk about a team ravaged with injuries and still
Matt
going
just said
11-5.
Matt just said here, DeMeco Ryan's Coach of the Year announced today. Now he doesn't know if that's Pro Football Coach of the Year or if it was actually like
that's not the AP one. The one.
Yeah, I don't think it's the AP. I think that's like the one that's like the Players' Choice kind of thing, the fan vote. But yeah, Matt Giacopoulos just commented, said 2 turnovers killed them, but Baker had a good year. He just doesn't make good decisions at critical points. I agree with that. I think he's great in regular season games. Again, number 1 passer, believe it or not. He has the most passing yards right now in the entire playoffs, which ironically, Jared Goff is number 2. If you would have put that on a bet, you would have made a lot of money as well to predict those two being the top passers. But yeah, so, I mean, obviously the divisional round was a little wild. I think it kind of went in the favor of all the teams we thought it would, although we might not have hoped it would have went those ways. I would have loved to see Buffalo pull one out against KC. I would have loved to see Houston somehow keep that game at least closer. Even if you lose, keep it closer. And actually, I tossed something in here I didn't warn you about ahead of time. I keep talking about awards for a reason. I never warned you. I popped this in here because you took too long to show up today, so I had to throw a wrench in here. For anybody who doesn't know, Freight Train likes to show up at like 7:49 and give me like 11 minutes to run them through whatever.
I like to make you sweat it out. Yeah,
well, it's you really. I mean, I just come up with. I mean, I get last minute ideas, and you're not here to stop me. So, so award winners. Obviously, we'll go over a couple major ones. I mean, so for you right now, who's your MVP? I mean, obviously. We shouldn't be talking about this during the playoffs, but because it doesn't really affect it, but we know it does.
Right.
So that keeping that in mind, knowing that whether we like it or not, the playoffs does have an impact on who wins these awards. Who do you take an MVP right now? If you had to cast a vote right now, where's your vote headed?
I mean, we all know who's going to get it, but I'm with Ryan Nelka, man. I think it should go to CMC. I mean, you would talk about a multifaceted guy week in and week out that a team has specifically game plan. You know what I mean? It starts with how Christian McCaffrey plays. Let's be honest, man. That offense goes with how he goes. You can't put it all on Brock Purdy. We've seen how that happened. We've seen how it was in Baltimore when they got far behind. They couldn't use Christian McCaffrey like they usually did. You know what I mean? And I think Christian McCaffrey is super important for that San Francisco offense. I think everything revolves around him. Now,
I agree.
Now, Lamar, pretty much the same idea. You know what I mean? Like, we've seen what Baltimore looks like without Lamar. We all know that offense is designed around Lamar. You know what I mean? But I mean, it's a tight race for me. I would vote CMC, but we all know it's going to Lamar.
Yes. And Matt just actually said exactly what I was actually just going to say. He said Lamar Jackson's probably going to be unanimous. Maybe not unanimous. Maybe CMC gets a couple. He said totally fine if he gets it over Jackson. So he's talking about CMC. I doubt it happens, but I think it's a fair point. And I agree. I think CMC definitely deserves to have at least an honorable mention. I mean, CMC has been one of the best running backs in the National Football League, quietly in Carolina, way more noise now. And John, I know you followed the page. I'm saying if you want us to pull your comments up on screen, I just need you to go over to the NFL Elite Banner page. This is actually streaming there as well. So if you click on the live video there and comment there, a little bit easier. But yeah, I definitely think CMC belongs in that conversation. Now, I actually think if he doesn't get it there, Offensive Player of the Year is going to be a close one. I think, I was reading some stuff today. I think Tyreek Hill makes sense for that role. Even being hurt, he had a dominant season, even while missing time.
Mhm.
And then Christian McCaffrey, again, I think if he doesn't get MVP, he needs to at least get a lot of nods
Right.
towards Offensive
Right.
Player of the Year.
Mhm.
One or the other, man. You can't let him go without anything.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, it has to be those two. I mean, Tyreek
Yeah.
was on pace to have over 2,000 yards receiving,
Yep.
which is
Yep.
astronomical. You know
If
what
he
I
didn't get
mean?
hurt. Yeah.
Right. With a quarterback like Tua Tagovailoa.
Yep.
You know what I mean? That makes it even more impressive. I'm not a Tua
Yep.
fan. I know the majority of America isn't a Tua
Yep.
fan. I think he throws butterfly balls, but I mean, but you can't, like, again, you can't argue with CMC. I mean,
Yeah.
how many times did he have 3 touchdowns in the game this year? I know
Oh,
he's probably
well,
almost averaged at least 2 a
too many.
game.
Too
You know what I
many.
mean? Like,
Too many.
it's hard to argue
I just
that.
wish he didn't go to Stanford. I liked him in Carolina where he played really well. I could like him, and he didn't impact my life whatsoever. Because Carolina was absolute dog trash.
Right.
Look at me censoring myself. Dog trash makes no sense,
Dog
but at the
trash.
same time, it's so much better than what I was going to say. I didn't even mean to stop
Dude, that's
myself.
bull spit, man.
Well, that's a little bit more. That's a little bit more understandable. But so we'll run through the last couple. Just give your fast opinion. Obviously, we have some other things to get to here,
Mhm.
which is way more important. But yeah, so if we're skipping that real fast, we'll just go through real quick. So, Defensive Player of the Year, fast reason why, and who?
TJ Watt.
You're gonna say TJ Watt. I know.
TJ Watt, 100%.
I mean, best player on
he's got the
defense.
sacks. I know most people will say that the sack stat is overrated. No, it's not. No, it's not. Sacks change the game. All right.
Yep.
Interceptions. I know he had at least 2 defensive touchdowns. You know, he makes a presence on the defensive side of the football in coverage or pass, rushing the passer.
Yeah.
Some people say Myles Garrett.
Hey,
Myles
thanks
Garrett
for the
is,
share, Ralph Williams. Much appreciated.
Myles Garrett is a one-trick pony. I don't see Myles Garrett going out and covering anybody. You know what I mean?
No.
Micah Parsons.
Well,
all
you
we
got to
heard
keep
about.
in mind. You got to keep in mind though. There is a difference. I don't consider. So for me, I don't consider T.J. Watt a defensive lineman. I consider him a linebacker. Miles
He
Garrett
is.
is that.
Yeah.
Miles
Right.
Garrett is a defensive lineman.
I know.
So he's not going to.
Yeah.
I'm just saying you're saying he doesn't cover anybody. Well, it's not his
He's
role.
not designed to.
He's
Right.
not.
Yeah.
He's not supposed to be playing coverage as a defensive
Right.
end.
But you look at
Now, I
TJ.
will say the comparison that you said with Parsons is probably more realistic for T.J. Watt.
Yeah.
But I will say T.J. Watt lines up on the line more than any outside linebacker is supposed to. So at this point, T.J. Watt is a more defensive end than he is linebacker, but the coverage kind of helps him in his favor as far
but
as
you know
those
what?
picks
You
and
know what
touchdowns.
separates TJ Watt from them other two? When you gotta have it,
Yeah,
he's there. You know what I mean?
Matt
All we
actually
heard
said
from
Bland.
all we heard from Micah Parsons was complaining about not getting holding calls.
Yeah.
He wasn't changing the game. He wasn't getting his sack totals like he always does. Myles Garrett disappeared for 7 games. You know what I mean?
Well,
disappeared in the playoffs. I don't even think he had a freaking tackle.
Well,
let
Matt
alone
is
a
saying
sack.
Bland because Bland broke the record for most defensive touchdowns in a single season, which I don't know. I would have agreed with that when he got hot, but I would say the problem with him was he just fell off out of nowhere middle. Yeah, that's the problem with those kind of numbers when you're predicting it on like touchdowns and things like that and picks. They come so few and far between. Sometimes you can get them all in one shot and not have anything for a while.
I think he started getting torched at the end of the year.
He went stagnant. He started giving up crazy numbers. But no, I definitely agree. I think Watt is probably the best bet, although I will say Myles Garrett is probably going to get the award. I know you don't want to hear it. I don't like to say it, but I don't see them giving it to T.J. Watt. They've already robbed them once with Aaron Donald.
Well, that's because they can't give it to T.J. Watt every single year. That's the only reason
I made the mistake of saying let's do this quickly because Freight Train's talking about a Steeler. We all know that he can't talk that quickly.
Listen, dude,
Ralph Williams, thanks for tuning in, man.
year.
Much appreciate the share, and I appreciate the comment. How's it going, man? I know you're a big Pittsburgh guy, so is Freight Train, so you're not alone here.
Oh, yeah, he knows.
But now, so we'll make these ones quick. There's no more Pittsburgh Steelers on this list. So what I'm seeing here, Offensive Rookie of the Year, where are you going there?
C.J. Stroud, 100%.
I have to say C.J. Stroud is definitely it for me, although I would not be mad about one other thing. I would not be mad if the vote got really close with Puka Nacua out of the L.A. Rams. He did break the rookie receiving record for yards. Doesn't matter. I'm just saying overall, if you want to give a fair shot to somebody who wasn't a QB, he is probably the best bet other than a QB would be Puka Nacua. Broke the rookie record for receiving yards. Matthew Stafford is the man with putting up big numbers for receivers. Aside from that, so you picked him. Defensive Rookie of the Year, I'm going to go Jalen Carter out of Philadelphia, not out of bias. I think Witherspoon is great at linebacker. Obviously, I think Brian Branch was huge for Detroit. I actually wanted Philadelphia to pick him up. Matthew Jacob said Laporta. I would say Laporta, no way in hell do they give it to a tight end unless you have like 1,700 yards and 20 TDs. I just don't see
that's
it.
a long shot.
I would say it would probably go Stroud, then Nakua. Laporta would deserve a mention. I just don't think a tight end's ever going to get picked. Now, for defensive rookie of the year, I am going Jalen Carter. I mean, the guy was solid all year, even when the rest of the Eagles defensive front just decided it was going to go to sleep and just hibernate through December. Jalen Carter did. I love that one highlight where the quarterback goes to spike the ball and he goes sliding underneath the center trying to like catch it. Like he was a dog, man. I mean, when he made some big plays in that he had a touchdown against Dallas. It was like one of the only ones. I mean, he was a dog every play, every single week. Jalen Carter was hitting the quarterback. He was being announced. He was making pressures. The guy was consistent, and I'm excited for him more than I was Jordan Davis. I think the real deal McCoy is going to be Jalen Carter. So for me, I think unanimously for me, not even being biased, I do like some other guys, but I think just because of this season, I have to go Jalen Carter.
Yeah, I would go too, and more than likely it's going to go to somebody that is a pass rusher. You know what I mean? Because you're going to see them more often.
You'll see the numbers too.
I think a guy that deserves more votes is my guy Joey Porter Jr., who went up against.
Christ.
I'm not even being a homer.
I knew he had to bring a stealer in here.
Dude, you got to look at it though. When he had, I will say he had problems with penalties earlier on in the year, rookie mistake. But when you look at what he did against teams' number one receivers, made a game out of it. I mean, I'm telling you, like.
So, Robbie, how you doing, man? Thanks for
tuning in. He went up against DK Metcalf and kept him at bay when he was hot. You know what I'm going to say, though? He faces Jamar Chase twice.
But I like what Matt just said, and it's funny how quickly we forgot Jalen Carter would have gone first a year earlier, and he would have before the character issues became a thing. Jalen Carter was projected to be a number one pick in the NFL draft, and he fell all the way to Philadelphia, and everybody was pissed, by the way. Like, even the people that were doing the draft, they were like, really, Philadelphia? Are you serious? And then, like, we ended up getting Nolan Smith, who didn't do anything all year. Hopefully he's better next year.
Yeah, definitely not.
But yeah, I mean, Matt did say exactly. He said fair point as well, and I agree. I mean, obviously, I think Joey Porter Jr. played I think he played phenomenal. But at the same time, it's very easy to look good when the rest of your secondary is absolute dog trash. I'm gonna keep saying that now. I like it. It just makes no sense so much. I just love it. Dog trash is my new saying. I'm Rich Smoke, the guy with dog trash. But then. To hit on the last two, these are pretty quick. These ones we can agree on pretty fast. Comeback player of the year, who do you got for that one? People were saying Flacco, but a lot of people changed their minds all of a sudden right after that game in the playoffs. See, again, playoffs plays a role. Playoffs plays a role. Ever since that playoff game, nobody's even bringing up Joe Flacco anymore. Nobody even brings him up.
I'm going to bring him up. That dude came off his couch and took Cleveland, of all teams, to the playoffs. I mean, that counts for something, right? I mean, I know the turnovers, you know what I mean, but at the age and just coming in and in the situation that Cleveland was in, gave them consistency at the quarterback position. And we're talking about the run game was so inconsistent. Flacco got them to the playoffs. He got them in the dance. That's comeback player for me.
Joey Porter went against some good receivers. Can't deny that. Oh, I'm not. By no means am I arguing with that. And he said, but I think Will Anderson wins Rookie of the Year. I don't think so. I don't think Will Anderson was better than Jalen Carter. I really don't. But no, I mean, and Matt also said for this award for the comeback, he said Lamar Jackson. I don't like that, though. For me, you can't be a former MVP and he had a good year last year. It wasn't like he was terrible. He just had some injuries. I mean, it happens. Comeback
they only
player
missed
of the year,
like a handful of games. It wasn't like
there's only a few answers that he said, what qualifies 4 games, sucks half season. I always wondered that. I don't know. I don't know what creates a comeback player. I don't think they really share the criteria they're voting on. I will say, I think you have to disqualify DeMar Hamlin. I hate saying that, but I don't understand how you can make a guy the comeback player of the year when he has not played barely all season. He played a few games. He has a couple tackles.
He wasn't
but he did nothing.
Active for he did nothing. Majority of
they tried to use him on a fake play in Buffalo as a sneak play on 4th down last week. And he got blew up. They were trying to make him a hero again. I'm sorry, but you cannot pick somebody who did not play. If you're a comeback player means you got hurt or you had a bad year, you came back and you played at a high level and earned it. That's my opinion of it.
Right.
So for me, there's only a few guys you put in this category. Okay, number one, I think you got to put Baker Mayfield in this category. I'm not a fan of him. I told you I don't like him, but I'm going to respect him enough to say, you know what? He deserves a mention. He's been on 4 teams very, very quickly. He went to Carolina, got dumped. The Rams got dumped. Comes here. Oh, he's going to be a bum. Goes to the divisional round of the playoffs. That means something. Just saying.
Yeah, but is it expected of him being a number 1 overall pick? And
He's what, 7 years removed from being number 1 pick, 6 years removed? Has not everybody written him off as a failed first pick in the draft already? That's comeback. Just because you got selected first pick in the draft 8 years ago or 7 years ago does not mean that anybody's expecting you to come back after how bad he was at the end of his tenure in Cleveland, how bad he looked in Carolina, how much he was disrespected when he got to the Rams. Then he got cut again. You got to give that man some credit. That's 4 teams in 2 years. Not to mention, he's had more head coaches over the last 6 years than any other quarterback in the NFL during that time span.
But can you give it to me?
I'm just saying. Hold on. But I'm just saying he's one of them. I'm saying he's one of them. The other guy I want to put in here is Jordan Love. Nobody's talked about him. Jordan Love is a comeback player. He got sat. I mean, obviously he didn't play before, but the comeback is he was out for 3 years, never was allowed to play. Everybody doubted him. Everybody bashed him. He filled in for Rodgers here and there whenever Rodgers took some. He got to take a deep breath every once in a while and check in on his State Farm policy. That's the Green Bay way.
I don't know if that gives him comeback. That's just how Green Bay handles the quarterback position.
I think you got to give some love to Jordan Love. I'm just saying. And then aside from that, I could see Lamar Jackson, I guess, but I just don't think he belongs in that conversation.
No.
Hey, Ali, thank you for tuning in. Appreciate you. But yeah, so for me, that's where we're at there. And then the last one, we're gonna make this one super quick. We have like 10 minutes, but I guess we're gonna stretch it a little bit. We're gonna go past 60 by a few minutes, which is fine. Last award, head coach of the year. Obviously, we talked about this a little bit. I'm gonna go DeMeco Ryans. Where are you going?
Yeah,
I'm not even giving reasoning anymore.
I'm gonna go somewhere different because we can't agree about everything, right?
Here we go. It's gonna be Mike Tomlin.
Not a chance in hell. No. I have to keep in the division though. I got to give it to Kevin Stefanski. I mean, you want to talk about a devastating injury, losing your top one of the best running backs in the league, and Nick Chubb. You know, that really could change your season in one night. You know what I mean? He went through 4 different quarterbacks, finds Joe Flacco off the couch, designs an offense to succeed with him. And they get to the playoffs, dude. They went 11-5. They had a plethora of injuries on the defensive side of the ball. Their whole secondary was basically out. You can't shake it. You know,
Ryans. Anyway, moving on to our.
You can't. I mean, you can't argue it, dude.
He's already been coach of the year a couple of years ago. Once you win it, I feel like it's really hard to win it a second time, just because of the fact that, if anything, what you're saying is he was coach of the year. He regressed dramatically. And now we're supposed to go, oh my God, he made it back to the playoffs again. Look at
the
guess what they did though. Like, guess what they did again? They choked again. Last time he got coach of the year, they made the playoffs and they got their asses whooped and got bumped again. So again, I get it. Great regular season coach, but what have you done for me lately? You lost in the first round, even with a stacked defensive line. And last time, fine. Like this time, fine. He had some injuries. Last time, the team was 100% healthy. They had all their starters pretty much.
They had some big injuries. I'm not a Cleveland Browns fan. I'll tell you that right now. Everybody knows that. Last year, and nobody gave Baltimore a break whatsoever. They had like some of the most injuries in like a single season ever. And everybody's like, oh, well, they should have played better. So I'm just saying, can't give Cleveland the benefit there. But anyway, we're going to move on because I think me and Freight Train might fight over coaches here. When the show's over, we'll probably go back to this topic again when you guys don't have to listen to this ramble. That could be, yeah.
But getting to the whole point of the show right now, I mean, obviously, first of all, for anybody tuning in, appreciate you guys.
Hopefully everybody's still awake and didn't fall asleep.
Like, comment, share, subscribe. I know a few people shared us around. Actually, we got viewers all over the place. So it's funny. There's some viewers on my page. There's some viewers on the actual page. We got some guys sharing us. So anybody who's supporting the show, we appreciate you. Absolutely. Again, we do have a giveaway coming up here soon with the mock drafts. I will be releasing the qualifications for that at the Super Bowl special show. There will be I decided it's going to be a $25 gift card. And we are going to be doing a giveaway for the person who can select the right player on the right team. You have to get at least 6 right to qualify, but anybody who has the most after that will win a $25 Visa gift card, and we will mail that out to you. So that is one of the things that we are trying to do here on this show. We have a lot of giveaways planned. We got some football jerseys planned, some gift cards planned. But again, I need everybody to participate. The more people that we get, the more I'm going to give away. I mean, we have some plans for some follower giveaways as well. So tell your friends, tell your family. Share
make sure you get on. Yeah, make sure you get on our Facebook page too. I'm gonna have some polls up. Get some interaction going on there.
Absolutely. We're definitely gonna get some ideas from you guys as well on what you guys want to see as far as some giveaways. So don't think we're gonna make up all of it. We are here for you guys. I mean, without you guys, we're just talking to ourselves, and I can just call Freight Train personally and BS for an hour and a half if I wanted to.
Right. And I can hit deny. I can't hit deny on here.
But moving on here, NFC Championship game we'll start off with here first. We do have Detroit at San Francisco. This game's gonna be pretty good. I think it's gonna be a good game.
What is the over under on these? Do we?
I have no idea. I didn't.
Let me.
Oh,
Yeah.
Well,
I got
if my co-host showed up on time, usually he's in charge of popping the spreads on here. So it's 7, and so San Fran is favored by 7.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I would take Detroit on the plus. If I'm taking Detroit, I'm taking them plus 7. But I think San Francisco wins this game by 4. I think it's gonna be close though. I think it's gonna be like 31 to maybe even 28. It might be a high scoring game. I think this might actually become a high scoring game. What do you think? I mean, what do you think?
Yeah,
and comment section, let us know. Who do you got? You got San Fran or do you got Detroit? And what do you think they're going to do there? Do you think they're going to cover that spread? And we got Chris Elliott saying Detroit Lions and Robbie DeFeo saying the Detroit Lions. So 2 Lions, 0 San Fran. I went with San Fran.
Right. Yeah. To be expected.
I'm outnumbered. And I hate San Fran, by the way. Right. Hate them.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going with the Lions, man. I like this Cinderella story. I like that they can get pressure on a quarterback, and I'm looking for them to make Brock Purdy uncomfortable. Because if you get Brock Purdy uncomfortable, and he just falls apart. I mean, we saw it against Baltimore. 5 interceptions, his worst game of his career, and Baltimore was relentless on their pass rush. You need to be able to take the middle of the field away from Brock Purdy. That's the main thing. Take away the easy throws. Make him beat you on throws to the outside.
So I'm sorry to be the laugh while you were talking. I wasn't laughing at you.
I didn't think it was that funny. But
I just got a Facebook message a few seconds ago. Remember how I was getting that harassment where like everybody's like, you look like Sirianni? Somebody was like, dude, you cut your hair. It's worse. You look like Nick Sirianni. And it's funny. I was sitting like this and I'm looking to the side. I got like my Eagles hoodie. I'm like, oh my effing God. It actually, like, in certain angles, I see it a little bit. And now I have to go home and have my fiance shave my hair off. Allie Simon said Lions as well. Dude, that is so bad. Well, I kept getting that for a while. I was getting messages on Bubba's show. I was getting like comments everywhere. And then I cut my hair short. I think it's a headset and the hoodie. I mean, it might not make it any better. This is my Halloween costume next year then. I'm going to be Nick Sirianni for Halloween. Take my son out. He'll be like, I don't know, somebody else. I don't know. But yeah, so you got Detroit going in this game. Is it going to be close or is it going to be?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be as high scoring as what everybody thinks. I think Deebo Samuel is going to be questionable in this game. That's a huge target and a huge weapon to deploy for San Francisco.
CMC.
Yeah, but I mean, Detroit's pretty good at playing against the run. I know CMC, he can beat pretty much anybody. It doesn't really matter. You throw that stuff out the window.
But you said Stefanski earlier. Robbie DeFeo said funk the Browns. I agree.
I don't like him either, but
just for the record.
But I'm looking for Detroit in the upset. I'm going more along the lines of like 24 to 21.
The problem is for me, like the reason why I have to go San Fran is, I mean, for me, when you do wide receiver, so quarterback comparison, I'm taking Purdy over Goff, probably, in my opinion.
I mean, Goff's been playing better.
Hold on. Offensive line. Now, Detroit's gotten a lot better. I would say they're almost balanced. I would say it's almost an even shake, however you want to play it. I would say you go tight ends. I would say just because of the fact that there's 2 pretty good ones. And actually, they just picked up Zach Ertz as well, by the way, which is pretty interesting in Detroit. Yeah. I would say Detroit almost wins that. I mean, obviously, Stanford has Kittle, but outside of Kittle, there's no other tight end on that offense that can do anything. So I'll say Detroit gets tight end overall, but obviously Stanford has the best tight end overall. And then you talk about defense. Defense is up for grabs. I would say San Fran might be a little bit better on defense, which is why I'm going San Fran. I think
there's a better chance. Position, they definitely are.
Well, even the D line's pretty close. And now Hutchinson's pretty good for Detroit. Don't get me wrong, but you got Chase Young, you got Javon Hargrave, you got Joey Bosa. Nick Bosa. You got a phenomenal defensive line too. I mean, San Fran's gonna be hard to run the ball against, and I think Jared Goff relies on that a lot to get the rest of the team moving. So for this game, Detroit has to get that ball running early and often. Otherwise,
I think they're really good at scheming Jahmyr Gibbs on some running plays. They'll use the screen as a run.
Just don't know if it's enough. Just don't know if it's enough.
I think if they can get them spread out.
I hope Detroit wins. Obviously, I can't stand San Francisco. So by all means, I'm not arguing. I fully hope that you're right and I'm wrong. But I have to go San Francisco. You're going Detroit. Allie Simon said Detroit. We had pretty much everybody in the comment section say Detroit.
Well, we all know what that means.
That means San Fran.
Yeah.
Last game here. Now we're going to talk a little bit AFC Championship game. We're going to come up with our Super Bowl showdown. So right now, as it was voted on by you guys, we have Detroit taking the NFC by storm and going to the Super Bowl for like the first time ever. And now to figure out who they're going to be playing against here in our Super Bowl, as far as us and our viewers are concerned, we have Baltimore I'm sorry, Kansas City at Baltimore. This would be a tough one for Kansas City. Baltimore is not a fun place to play, especially this time of the year. You know, Ray Lewis is probably going to make an appearance. Terrell Suggs probably shows up. They're going to bring a lot of the legends out. Ed Reed will probably show up. You're going to have one hell of an opening game ceremony. You're probably going to have one hell of a halftime show. So, I mean, for me, I'm going to wait. But who do you have here, and what do you think is the key to victory for the Baltimore Ravens?
I mean,
and Kyle says Niners all day. He is a Niners fan, unfortunately. So we have one guy in the comments.
I mean, it's hard to pick against the champs.
Thanks for watching, Kyle.
I mean, it really is. You know, when it comes to playoff times, there's just something different about Kansas City in the playoffs. You know, like their defense was questionable the whole year, and then you get in the playoffs, and it's like a whole different defensive scheme. You know what I mean? And then, you know, for some odd reason, their wide receivers decided to catch the ball in the playoffs. You know, Valdez-Scantling had like 3 catches, and I'm like, I tell my brother-in-law, I'm like, that dude doesn't catch anything, and now he's making contested catches. Kelsey makes an appearance with 2 touchdowns.
Leah, thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you watching. Oh, Kyle Veers, by the way, who is a Niners fan, he said, right now it is scripted for the Chiefs. I wouldn't be surprised. They love Taylor Swift out there, man. They love to get her in. Oh, you know what? We actually have somebody.
Hey, we have a Kelsey. There's a Kelsey.
We have a Kelsey on the show, not the real ones. We do have who we like to call here in our podcasting world. We have the special Kelsey. This is Bubba's field correspondent, who we might have to
special
steal.
K.
We might have to offer him a better contract and snatch him away from Bubba over there. But Shane, Mr. Stat Miller, just finished up his show. He has a college podcast that he does. He never gave me a logo, so I can't show you guys.
It's a secret.
But Shane, how'd it go?
Yeah. It went well. I went through my list of how I'm ranking the teams right now in the Big 12, because Arizona went from my top 3 team with a chance to, you know, make a playoff run and get into the college playoffs. They lost their coach to Washington and 20 of their players. And I moved them from like number 3 down to number 14.
Woo!
What a shame.
They
dropped
now.
This is not a college show, but that's still pretty wild to drop a team 11 spots from anywhere. That's wow.
Yeah, but you lose 80% of your starters that are coming back and your coach. Guys, it's the way.
So now that
are.
you're here, your brother is going to be playing this game here, Mr. Travis Kelsey, and your other brother is going to be naked with a beer can in his hand with Jason Kelsey. So special Kelsey, who do you got in this game here? Who do you got, Kansas City or Baltimore?
Ooh. I have to go with my brother, you know, even though I think Baltimore's the better team. I got to pick my it's
long lost
DNA in me, you know, it's the back hair and the chest hair. Yeah. I didn't want to say that because I don't want to promote them, but
No, I don't want to promote them. Well, backtracking here real fast, and just give us a quick little take here because we've talked about this a little bit. But Detroit and San Francisco. So obviously you're taking KC. So your Super Bowl in your mind right now is going to be KC versus who? Detroit or San Francisco?
Yeah, I got the heart and the mind have 2 different picks. Okay, the heart wants Detroit and Baltimore, and the mind says it's going to be San Fran and Kansas City because that's what the NFL wants.
Yep, I agree. No, I agree. I'm taking Baltimore in this game. However, I think I'm wrong. I mean, I always say it. Kyle did say slam the under and Chiefs with points. So he seems to think taking that is the best bet there to make a couple bucks. So if you guys ever want to follow Kyle, on that one, feel free to take the under and take the Chiefs with points, which is pretty crazy. Yeah, I think Baltimore's favored by 3 or 4. I think in this game.
3.
I think it's 3. It was 3.
Hey,
then it was
I want to announce this too.
Yeah, what do you got?
I'm going to change my time that I do my show so that I don't conflict with your show because I want to watch it and comment.
It is 4 now. I'm sorry. Not 3. It is now 4.
Well, it was 3. Then it was 3.5, and now it's climbed to 4. I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to get people to stop betting on one side of the line and the other, so they're trying to switch it around. They're hoping people start taking the +4 probably, and that's probably what they're trying to do right now. They're trying to shake it around. They already know who's going to win, so now they have to get you to take the side that they know is going to lose. They really want you to bite and take -4 Baltimore. Really bad right now. Yeah. But yeah, man, I think I have to say I want Baltimore in this game. Like Shane said, though, I feel the same way. The heart says Detroit, Baltimore. The mind says San Fran and Kansas City. I really I hate saying it, but I think Kansas City will win. But I'm gonna take Baltimore. I'm gonna go with Lamar. I think Lamar needs this one more than anybody does right now. I mean, being an MVP, might get it again this year. 2-time MVP with no ring, does not sound good. And again, that team has gotten better and better defensively. They're only going to be young for so long. So I think this is his best year. This is his best chance. I mean, right now the AFC was as easy as it could get this year. I mean, he had the best chance that he had all year. I mean, Pittsburgh was beat up. Cleveland was good, but they were up and down. Cincinnati was without Joe Burrow. This was their best year to make a nice, easy push for a playoff spot. Don't choke on it now. I thought Buffalo was going to be a challenge, but they got to avoid that one. I think that game would have been more fascinating, by the way. I think Baltimore and Buffalo would have been more fun to watch than Kansas City, Baltimore, personally.
I have a question for you boys. Is Flacco done?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he said he wasn't opposed to coming back, though. He did make that announcement. But my thing is, if he comes back and he has one bad game, they're probably going to bench him. That's just what's going to happen. Like,
he's going to want to start somewhere.
He's better off. He's going to stay in Cleveland. He'll most likely stay in Cleveland. I think what's going to happen is they might bring him in. I think they're going to keep him. I really do, but I don't think he's going to play. I think
but they're high on DTR in Cleveland. I don't know what it is about that kid that they love.
Kyle Veers did say, by the way, all time the Niners are 13-1 against Detroit. So the odds are definitely against Detroit, and it's definitely in San Fran's favor there.
Hey, I don't want to hear it. It's like roulette. You see the same color. That doesn't matter. Okay, guys. I saw red 5 times. No, guys, it doesn't freaking matter. It's a playoff game. These are professionals, and that coach has them playing ball. I mean, I watched some TikTok videos of him.
TikTok videos?
TikTok videos. With my speech impediment. And I was freaking fired up.
Oh, come on, Kyle. He said sign Flacco to Philly. They might need him.
Wow, low blow.
Hey, to be fair, he was here. So we actually stole him. It was fun fact, though. Fun fact of the day, in case you guys didn't know. He was with the Jets. The Jets let him go. They didn't want him anymore.
Okay.
Philadelphia signs him in free agency. He comes in, plays phenomenal in the preseason. He rides the bench for a while. The Jets go, oh, crap, our quarterback is hurt. What do we do now? We trade. We don't just give him back. We trade him for like 2 draft picks. They take him back for a few games. They cut him again, and then he goes home. I'm like, dude, we literally got 2 free draft picks for that's Howie Roseman, though. Howie Roseman is the greatest trade negotiator maybe ever. Like literally maybe ever. I'm like, you know what? I know you really like Patrick Mahomes. How about 2 5th-round picks in a Snickers bar? And Kansas City's like, yeah, good idea. Here goes Patrick Mahomes for you. Like, it doesn't make any sense. We make the most ridiculous one-sided trades like ever. So again,
I just like you break them both down like by position, especially on the offense. Like, are you really convinced with Baltimore's run game to think that they can?
I think you have to take Lamar into account too. But I think so, because if you take Lamar into account as well, a part of that running game, I think 100%. I mean, Gus Edwards is great in power scenarios. He's definitely used. Justice Hill is great in the passing game as well, so he's definitely one of those nice versatile backs. And then you got Lamar as well, who can break out and take off for 80 if he needs to. So are they elite? By no means. But like Pacheco, he's good. Like he's really good. But aside from Pacheco, there's not really anybody else. You're not afraid of Clyde Edwards-Helaire. So once Pacheco is tired and he's sitting on the sideline for a couple snaps trying to get his breath back, there's no run game in KC. And then on top of that, KC, aside from Rashee Rice and Travis Kelce, I mean, Nicole Hardman's going to burn you. I mean, I watched him drop more passes than anybody. You got Kadarius Toney, who has great moments at times, but really nothing big. I mean, there's nobody there that terrifies me over the top except for maybe a Rashee Rice or Travis.
Right. Yeah, Rashee Rice has been playing better. I mean, and then you can't forget Scandling. I mean, the guy that dropped everything, and then all of a sudden last week is looking like Randy Moss out there.
I just don't think, in my opinion, if Kansas City's going to win this game, it's going to be some ridiculous throws by Mahomes, and it's going to be the Baltimore offense not being able to keep pace. That being said, Baltimore has, in my opinion, I said earlier, they have the best defense in the NFL. Baltimore has hands down the best defense.
Do you think these guys play kind of like how Buffalo played for almost 4 quarters, except to the last drive, by prolonging their drive and trying to keep the other offense off the field?
I think this could be a last drive kind of game. This could come down to the last 4 minutes. It's going to be a turnover or it's going to be a big play. It's going to be something, but this game's going to come down to a final drive or one of the final drives.
Yeah, Baltimore needs to stop them on if they need to defer and then stop them on the first drive. Yeah, it's going to be one of those.
So Kyle Veers is asking, is this the best defense KC has ever had, or one of them? I think it might be. This might be one of. It might be one of. And they're going to lose a few of these pieces, by the way.
It took them a while to get there, but they're playing really well right now.
But they're going to lose a few pieces here. L'Jarius Sneed's supposed to leave in free agency. Chris Jones is aging. He's about to be heading out of there as well. Some would say that this might be KC's best shot to win one more before they kind of have to rebuild that defense again. Like, that's the problem is the defense is at tip-top shape for KC. I mean, it's the best it's been in a long time for Kansas City. The problem is, if they don't win now, they're going to be right back to the scenario where they were before. Great offense, and that defense is going to have to be rebuilt again. But then again, Steve Spagnuolo has done an absolutely incredible job. I mean, talk about a terrible head coach for St. Louis back in the day, but what a phenomenal defensive coordinator. It goes to show you, though, some guys belong in certain roles and not others. Like Frank Reich, phenomenal offensive coordinator. Don't make him your head coach. I mean, like, there's certain guys there really are. I mean, we've seen a lot of these guys go from zero to hero depending on what they're doing. Like Shane Steichen was a great offensive coordinator for Philadelphia. He did okay in Indy, but didn't look as good. Jonathan Gannon was a great defense coordinator in Philly. Terrible in Arizona. I mean, I know they won some crazy games, but it just goes to show you, though, just because you were a great coordinator like Matt Patricia when he first went to the Lions, or what's his name, the offensive coordinator there from New England. It was Josh McDaniels, phenomenal coordinator, or maybe it was just Tom Brady, who knows, but terrible head coach. I mean, they don't.
I think you forgot one terrible in there.
I think I might have missed 4. I think I might have missed about 4 of them. And Kyle did say true. So, yeah, it is. This is the year KC has to finish the job again, because this might be the last Super Bowl of Andy Reid's career. That's my hot take. I think this might be one of his last appearances.
Do you think if Kansas City does win the Super Bowl that Andy Reid kind of leaves in the spot?
I don't think so, man. I want to say yes, because I would love to see Andy go out and kind of let him have his moment of glory kind of thing. I think he loves football too much, man. This guy's been around football since the 70s and 80s, and he played in the 60s. So you figure he has like 50. I'm sorry, I think he played in the 70s and coached in the 80s. But like he's been around for like 45, 50 years, man.
He's the most healthy guy you ever saw.
I know.
Dude, talk about 2 cheeseburgers a day keeps the doctor away, man. I mean,
I think he keeps him under his pillow.
Right.
He has a double quarter pounder or a double cheeseburger before and after every game or something like that. He's really big on burgers. His thing with McNabb back in the day, whenever they would win, he would go, burgers for everybody. That was the big thing. He would go out and celebrate by having a burger after every game. That's what. And if they lost, he went somber over a burger. A burger was a big thing that started in Philadelphia. But yeah, man, I think these are going to be two really good games. I think both of these games are going to be hopefully as exciting as they are on paper. Hopefully they match the marquee. I know we're 15 minutes over here, but it's so much fun. And Kyle says he's trying to chase Bill Belichick. He's not going anywhere. I don't know if he's ever going to get 6. I mean, like, he's at 2 right now, I think. I mean, if we're not counting the Green Bay offensive coordinator one, he has 2? He's been to 4 or something like that, but I don't know, man. I mean, if he wins, even if he wins the Super Bowl this year, I just don't think he makes another one after this. I mean, I almost agree where he should retire. I don't think he will. But I think this might be his last ever Super Bowl appearance. 6 is hard to do, man. It's like he's in his 70s now. I mean, to hit 3 more before it's all said and done, that's going to be hard. Tough. I mean, Belichick did it all rapidly. I mean, he did it from 01 to 27. He did it over the course of 16 years. Reid's been in the league for over 20. He's at 2 or 3 appearances, 4 appearances. He'll be a Hall of Famer first ballot for sure, 100%. But I don't know, man. I don't see him catching Bill. I don't think anybody's going to catch Bill. Anybody that's in the league right now, at least.
No, it might not ever happen again.
It might not. I mean, honestly,
they turn over so quick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the problem is the NFL now players move so rapidly. You know, people forget for New England, the reason why they were able to be so consistent was they kept the same Hall of Fame defense for like 8 years in a row before a guy and whenever a guy retired, like, let's just pick up another Hall of Famer real fast. Come on in, Junior Seau. You don't need to be at the Chargers anymore. Hey, Rodney Harrison, you don't need to be there. Come over here, Rodney. Come on.
Right.
Like they just managed to pull off the same thing. They brought in some phenomenal talent to replace phenomenal talent, and we didn't see that defense get bad like ever. Even now, they're still a relatively good defense.
They're not bad.
Offense.
Yeah, they're not bad.
They've never been a bad defense. But I think with that being said, I think it seems like as far as the comment section's vote goes, it will be Detroit versus Baltimore in the Super Bowl here. Obviously, who knows what's going to happen? That is the heart of the whole entire fan base here at the NFL Elite Banter. And I just want to say I appreciate everybody for coming on. I know that it's 8 o'clock at night. We always stayed a little bit late, and actually some of you guys are still tuned in
It's
from the very
actually
beginning.
9 o'clock, 9:15.
It's 8:45, but I do get notifications for how long people stay on here. And it's funny because we do have a bunch of viewers on a couple different platforms at once, and a lot of them have been here for the entirety of the show. So much love to you guys to support the show. Again, the more you guys share, the more followers we gather, the more comments we get. We are going to have giveaways out the wazoo. I mean, again, I have all kinds of stuff. I have a partner with a marketing guy. I have some jerseys lined up, gift cards lined up, and we're going to run some polls here as soon as well. Once we have enough people on the page, I would say once we hit at least 250 on the page, at that point we have enough followers to warrant maybe a little bit of a bigger giveaway. We will have Freight Train running polls on the page. He will put out there what kind of a giveaway you guys want to see. Obviously, we're not doing Maseratis, but we will give the highest value we can afford to give, and the bigger the show gets, the more we can offer. So thank you guys again for tuning in to the NFL Elite Banter. Shane, thank you for coming on. We appreciate you.
Thanks, Shaner.
I do have a couple of shout outs real quick here before we hop off. Thank you to the Triple B Experience podcast with Bubba Brewer. Kyle Veer says, "Go Niners." I hope not. We do have Pro Wrestling Extreme Talk with Larry Stryker and the boys over there. Shout out to them guys. I knew they were going live at the same time as I was, so F you for that part. We had Kal-El on here earlier on Buckle to Buckle, so thank you to Kal-El for making his appearance this afternoon, well, evening. Definitely a knowledgeable kid. Always appreciate him. And hey, the last thing on here, call me for a quote, man. I work for Allstate, 610-590-4205. No matter what you need an insurance quote for, that is my direct line right to my desk. We do not sell your info. So if you call me directly, you don't have to deal with anybody else except for me. I'm here 9 to 6 o'clock usually. And then the last one here, real fast, and I'll let you go. The very final one here, shout out to my father-in-law, basically, Artie. He does run the AJB Sports Shop and Collectibles. It is located in upstate, well, like middle of the state PA. He is selling all kinds of stuff. I actually gave Freight Train an inside scoop last night. I mean, we are selling, if you're a Steelers fan, we got terrible towels for like $7 a piece, which you go online, I think he was saying they were going for anywhere between 13 and 20, depending on where you were looking. Tumblers, puzzle lights, you name it. He has something for your man cave. He has something for your dog. He has something for your baby. He has something for everything. So feel free to check out AJB Sports Shop and Collectibles at ajsportshop.com, or you can also find his shop online on Facebook at AJB Sports Shop as well. Obviously, if there's anything on there that you guys can't find that you're looking for, let me know, and I will see about trying to get some stuff in stock for you guys. But thank you to AJB Sports Shop for being the very first sponsor of the show. Shout out to you guys. And Freight Train, what do you got?
I'm not in insurance. I'm just a peon at a construction company in the great state of Ohio. So,
but if you need construction done,
shout out to Builder Bros Construction. But no, thanks guys for tuning in. You know, me and Richard, working hard on this, trying to make it a great show. I think, it's all about you guys, and we need interaction from you guys. It's what's going to make this thing take off. You know what I mean? And don't be afraid to give us some constructive criticism. I'll take it well. Rich is from Philadelphia, so he might cuss you out. I don't know, but
only behind the scenes. You gotta get me on air. You gotta get me on air. I'm a lot nicer on air. But yeah, I think the big thing too, Freight Train, I forgot to mention this. I know we talked about this too, is, we're trying to make the show for you guys, but also with you guys. So if anybody ever wants to come on, you want to talk about your team, you want to talk about the draft, you want to talk about free agency, whatever it is, feel free to shoot me a message. Let me know, hey man, or let him know, like, hey, we want to come on. We want to talk about so-and-so. We'll hook you up. We can sit down and figure out what you want to talk about, and I will make sure that, like for Kal-El, the original plan was just rush through the games for the divisional round, but I know how much he loves Buffalo. We want to get him on here, give him a chance to talk about his team a little bit. So that goes for all you guys. So shout out to you guys. Much love, much appreciation. And we will see you guys next week. I mean, we'll have to come up with something for next week. The Super Bowl show is January 8th, but next week we'll have something. We'll find something.
We'll have a Pro Bowl special, maybe.
Yeah, we'll have a little something. So anyway, guys, we appreciate you. We will be live again next Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern time. It'll be me and Freight Train, and maybe even you. If you let us know you want to pop on, you can very well be on this next episode. So take care, guys. See you next